Jackie Powell.
Hey, Walt. So I wanted to ask you in this practice before tomorrow, how Kylie Shook has responded. She had like the hesitant performance against Connecticut. So I'm curious as to what her energy has been like since that and how she's looking to get better.
Yeah, Kylie's really consistent. Her energy's really consistent. She's, she's still learning. She's trying to implement some new things that we've been working on in skill workouts, and stuff just takes time. It takes time playing against Alyssa Thomas, versus me, in a skill setting. So, she's the goal is that they keep expanding kind of what they can do and stepping out of their comfort zone. And sometimes that's gonna, she's gonna end up getting blocked, when she goes back to one of the old moves that she used to do that we don't want her to do anymore. Or, she tries to attack the middle and a double comes, she just pick the ball up. That's the only way for her to get better at this stuff. So she's been extremely responsive, really, really hungry to learn. She does film, she does workouts, she does all the extra. So no, Kylie's been really good.
Just a reminder for folks who just joined us, please raise your hands if you have questions for Coach. Next, we will go to Jeff Magliochetti.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for joining us. Good afternoon. How you guys have talked about the congested schedule of the bubble setting and that you're basically playing 3 games in 6 days and whatnot, but you have an extra off day in the schedule. How do you navigate around that, and how do you utilize an extra day of practice for the squad is my question.
Well, it doesn't end up being an extra day. It ends up being a day, because normally there's just a game and then it's not even a day off. It's like a practice day and then a game and then a practice day. So this next 12 days there's 6 games with one day off in between. And so we had to take yesterday off. So players still did film. A couple players came in and shot, but their bodies they need the rest. The schedule's ridiculous. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just so hard, and people are getting hurt left and right. It's unfortunate. So now it's a matter of us trying to protect them for this next stretch through the end of the season. And so today we had a full practice, and it was great. They went really, really hard. We got a lot done. Everybody gave everything they had. It was a really good day, but it's probably the last full practice we're going to get to have for 12 days.
Sarah Valenzuela.
Hey, Coach. So kind of just touching back on that last question, now that you are a little bit over the halfway point of the season and these are unprecedented times and you're in your first year, how do you think you've handled managing all the challenges that have been thrown your way, from players getting injured, players coming in and out of the bubble, and dealing with playing in a bubble in general? Like, how do you think you've handled all of that just this in your first half season, sorry?
Yeah, I think, I guess that it's hard to self-assess. I'm always going to be pretty hard on myself, but I think probably a smart way to do it would be to look at the players' level of engagement, and in spite of a record, that's probably not indicative of the level of growth and the effort of our team. They haven't one bit shut down or come into practice with bad attitudes or tired. I mean, they're such a resilient group. And so I think, if I'm going off of that, I'd say we as a staff, we've probably done a pretty good job, because they're committed. And it's a pretty amazing thing to see, a young group that refuses to quit, refuses to let the record get them down. They show up every single day. They show up hurt, they show up exhausted, and they bust their butts and try to get better. I'm really, really proud of them. So I'd say that's probably the best metric I have to look at, in terms of how we've handled everything. And because they're handling it so well, that means we're probably doing all right too.
Thank you so much. One more follow-up question. You mentioned you're very happy with the way the players have been growing and how committed they've been throughout everything that's happened. Which players, I feel like I've asked you this a few times throughout the season, which players do you think have shown the most growth or really stood out to you in like during this time?
Well, it's hard because they've all done it in one way or another. You know, some have grown more off court. You know, with young players, they have to learn what it means to be a pro. And part of that is diet. Part of it is how you spend an off day. Part of it is when you go to sleep every night. In a season like this, that stuff is just like through the roof important, because if you're not sleeping, you're not recovering, your resistance to injuries is even lower. You know, and I think in terms of that stuff, our group, from what I know, has been really, really good. They've taken really good care of themselves. And I know that that's hard to do. It's hard to just wake up, practice, work out, film, testing, go back to your room, go to sleep, and do that every day for, you know, 2.5, 3 months. That's really challenging, I think, you know. So I'd say that the growth pretty much across the board has been great. And I think in terms of the older players who have a pretty good handle on that stuff by now, if they've been in the league, you know, 3 to 7 or 8 years, I'd say with them, it's been learning how to play through a frustrating season where, you know, a lot of times their whole goal, the only goal is to win. And this year they knew that it was a part of this season was going to be about building. This season was going to be about individual and collective growth. And so I'd say to see how all of the older players have responded and how they're not, it's even more impressive with them probably that they don't quit, they don't complain, they just show up and work. It's really a pretty amazing thing. That the people, you know, I've seen fans frustration, things like that, and I get it, but I mean, you get to sit at home and watch them bust their butts, you know. Our coaching staff's staying up and getting 3 hours of sleep every night, trying to help. And so to see them not lose their tempers with this, you know, that's a pretty amazing thing, because they're the ones who are out there, you know, working as hard as you can imagine with very little free time or downtime. So I'd say I'm proud of the whole group. I really am.
We have time for another question if anyone has one. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and let Nay Odom in. All right, Jackie Powell.
So just going back to the idea of the energy in general, I mean, the first game against Chicago, there was a lot of positivity because the team had so much energy and the offense was close to really getting a win. So is there a different, or what's the motivation like going up against Chicago again tomorrow, just trying to build on the energy that they exuded in the first matchup?
Yeah, I think the focus, like I've said before, you know, and I really hope it's sinking in with everybody that the wins are great. It feels great to win, but understanding where we're at right now in this process and understanding that you have to focus more on the growth and what they're bringing each day and how they can improve each day. And did they get better from yesterday? And sometimes there are things that they do that it's like, we worked on that and they got better at it today. And that's exciting, you know, and then we still, you know, we end up losing the game. And I think that people feel like those are letdowns when in fact, what we're looking at goes much deeper than just the wins and losses, and understanding, you know, that experience and, you know, superstar power, those things matter in terms of wins. They matter a lot. So the focus in Chicago for game 2 is the same focus that we'll have against every other team. And it's, did we get better? Did we address some of the things that we tried to work on? It's always about us. It's always going to be about us. Every practice, every game, it's about us getting better. And that's what we're looking at. And if the wins come from that, that's great. But right now, we have to just focus on taking care of the things that have been bugaboos for us all year. And that's what practices, film, individual shooting and workouts, all that stuff, it's all designed to try and get them better. So that as we go forward, that we're looking beyond not just tonight's game or tomorrow's game or next week's game, but next year and the year following, and building players, building an organization, building a culture that's sustainable for a long time.
Thank you, Coach. Next, we're going to have Nate Odom. Jeff Magliochetti.
Hi, Nate. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon. You've been in the starting lineup. I believe it's been 7 or 8 games in a row right now. And it's rare to see second-round picks in a way contributing to this squad immediately. And you've been really contributing on the interior thus far. What have been your impressions, if you could, if you're comfortable, of course? Give us a bit of a self-assessment that you've had now that we've crossed the midway point of this season.
Really just trying to go out there and give what my team needs from me, whether that's defense, rebounding, and stuff like that. So just kind of doing the little things.
Sarah Valenzuela.
Hey, Nay. So I asked Coach to do a bit of a self-assessment on himself, everything happening just with this year alone, playing in unprecedented times. I know this is your first season in the W, but as someone who's looking at him from the outside, not doing a self-assessment, how would you determine or critique the way he's been able to handle coaching you guys in your first year, knowing that it's also his first year?
Walt's been doing a great job. He'll literally do whatever he can to help us and put us in the best situations. So I can only thank him for everything that he's done for us.
Jackie Powell.
Hey, Nay, thanks for joining us. I wanted to know if you could talk to us a little bit about your journey this season on the offensive end and how your coaches, not just Walt, but the assistants too, and your teammates have been helping you build that confidence.
They're just putting me in plays that, that's geared towards my skills, and I'm just working hard and trying to just really find where I fit in the team. And, sometimes it's always not easy to really just be a rookie and just come in and try to be an offensive threat, but, I'm doing the best, and they're putting me in good positions to do so.
We're going to go back to Sarah Valenzuela.
Hey again. Is there any moment that stands out to you at all through the season on the, either while playing in games or in practice, that you've been like, wow, coach is really here for us. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Is there a moment that really stands out to you like that?
I think it was Chicago game when they missed the wraparound call, and I just saw him going wild on the sidelines, and I was just like, he's willing to do anything for us, literally, even if it's getting in the ref's face. And so I really appreciate him for what he does.
Do we have any last questions for Nay? Jackie Powell.
Hey, hi again. So I just wanted to get you to maybe expand upon that. Is there, or what I asked you before, just about developing this offensive confidence? Can you take us through a moment, maybe during a shoot around, where maybe you bonded with a teammate over learning something new, or in game when you did something you learned and you really gained that confidence?
My teammates are always telling me to shoot the ball, go score, be confident, stuff like that. And just hearing other people, having so much, belief in myself and my abilities, it gives you more confidence, especially when it's the veterans who are saying all these things. And, Nurse always tells me to do this, go into the body, try to get a foul call. Or Zowie is always telling me, go attack, go one-on-one, you can take her, you can do this, and stuff like that. So just hearing those voices, I think it does instill more confidence in myself.
Great. Thank you, Nay, and thank you all. We'll be sending the recording